I'm kind of reminded today that sometimes we can get a little sad in our services, and sometimes we can get a little, I don't know, morose is maybe a little too heavy a word, but sometimes we just need to be filled with the joy. Do you remember we have been lighting candles? Last week was joy, and yet somehow we seem to let that slide by. And that's a hard thing, because Satan's trying to steal that, and we need to hang on to it as tight as we can. And so today, I'd like to remind you, it's Christmas season. Me, for one, I love Christmas. Well, I love it. Now, I grant you, I'm not real fond of the cold. Cold can get to me a little bit, but we can get through that. But I do love Christmas. I love the decorations and the trees and watching the children. Oh my gosh. I love to watch children while they're trying to figure out what they can get their parents to get them. How can I get mom and dad? And then it's picking the right gift too. They really work at that, don't they? They work at getting, well, let's see. If I try and get mom to get me this, that's too much. But if I get them to get me this, that's too little. So I got to get it just right in that spot. Get that sweet spot. I love to watch it. Their faces light up. They dance around it. Sometimes we forget that Christmas is a time that we are given stuff. Now, I'm not talking about the stuff you find under the tree. You're going to find that, or not, as the case may be. See, sometimes our families say, well, our family's gotten large now, so we're not going to have everybody get everybody a gift. We're only going to have, you get this one a gift, and that one will give this, and I need to work around. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what God gave us. Do you realize God gave us a lot of stuff? He did. He gave us life. He gave us a world to wander around on. He gave us health. He has given us so much stuff. But did you ever stop to realize that God gives peace? It's a tangible thing. It's not just a concept of we're not going to be fighting today. We're not going to have problems today. We're not going to do this. It's a tangible thing. God gave it to us. Do you realize that it was in the first blessing that he told Moses to have Aaron give to the people? In the very, very first blessing that God said, give this blessing to the people. You're supposed to do this. The thing he gave them at the end of it was peace. Comes out of Numbers 6. Start the 22nd verse. The Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. The very last part, give you peace. It's not give you an idea of something that might be out there. It's a tangible thing. It's give you peace. He was giving them something wonderful. He was giving them God's peace. The peace that only comes from God. Because men, when we say we're giving peace, it's not so much we're giving peace as just a lack of conflict. You ever thought about that? I heard a story about the soldiers in World War I. Now, despite popular belief, I was not around then, so I don't know personally. But they said during World War I, on Christmas Day, the soldiers in the trenches, and these trenches are just not very far, they're yards apart sometimes. These soldiers who have been trying to kill each other, they've been working hard to do that for days and days and days. They spent lots of time and bullets and other things. All of a sudden, on Christmas, they started singing. And then one group got out of their trench, and the other group got out of their trench, and they walked over, they exchanged gifts, they exchanged tugs, they talked to each other, and they had God's peace, a tangible thing between them. Man's peace was just not shooting at each other today, but God's peace came down on them. God's peace, that tangible thing came down, and they couldn't help but to get up and show each other love and compassion. Think about that for a minute. These are people who are fighting tooth and nail, yards apart. And they stopped because God's peace came on them. All they did was start singing the carols of Christmas, and their hearts were filled with the love and joy of God, which then let His peace come in. Now, God has given us peace in a lot of different ways through the years. Isaiah, in the 9th chapter, talks about God realizing that people have forgotten about His peace. God has Isaiah tell the people in the 2nd verse, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of darkness, a light has dawned." And in the 6th, it says, "For unto you a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace." Not prince of an idea, prince of a thing, prince of God's peace coming down on them. It's one of the things that God has known that we have needed for so long, is His peace. Because sometimes we say we need peace of mind. I need peace of heart. I need to stop the conflict within myself. You ever heard that? Now, this is one of the things that, once again, I have not bought one of these books myself, but I have heard plenty of self-help writers have expressed, all you need is to find peace with yourself, is to go sit in the corner and let your troubles float away. Really, I wouldn't have figured that one out all by myself. I'm glad you told me that. If it were that easy, don't you think I would have done it by now? I hate to hurt their feelings, but the real self-help guru he wrote us a book too. And he said, all you need to find peace, what you need to find when you find peace, is to find my son. I sent him to you. The true self-help guru here said, what you need to do is find my son, because he is the Prince of Peace. You want peace in your life? Find my son, he'll put it there. You want peace of mind? Find my son, he'll give you that. You want to let peace be around you? Find my son. I wrote it to you. I sent you a letter. Wasn't that nice of God to send you a letter? Keep in mind, these are personalized letters. These are for you. They're for me. They become personal when you read them and take them into your heart. They become personal letters. God wrote me a personal letter. He said, my son has come, so if you'll just do that, you can have that peace. And Jesus, now here's the thing. Everybody says, well, in the Old Testament, God talked about these things, and Jesus never really did. And I say, wait a minute, time out. Jesus, the last thing he did, the last thing he gave his disciples. Now, he'd talked with them for 3 years, okay? They'd walked around, they talked, did all kinds of stuff. He had given them power. He'd given them the Spirit. He'd given them all kinds of stuff. The very last thing he gave them was peace. John 14th chapter. Jesus is talking to his disciples. And this is just before they come to arrest him. He's giving them the last bits of instruction. He's been talking to them about, hey, I'm going to be taken away. I'm going to be killed. I'm coming back. But his last bit of instruction here. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. And I do not give you as the world gives you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. And do not be afraid. Jesus gave them his peace. That was the last thing he gave them. And it was a tangible thing. It rested on them. And they knew, once they accepted it, that it was a tangible thing. They could feel it. They could feel it in their lives. They could feel it in their hearts. They could feel it filling them and lifting them up. Here's the interesting thing. We all can do the same thing. Jesus didn't just give it to them and say, here, I'm giving you this, and when you have used it up, it's all gone. It's not all gone. It stayed right there. It stayed to help the world get through the time. And not just the world, but the people of the world. All the peoples. All the nations. Keep in mind, the first guys that Jesus hung around with, they were all Jewish. All of them. Jesus said, my peace is going to go out from you. It's going to spread into the world because Jesus is the Prince of Peace. And it is a tangible thing. But it's only tangible when you take it and put it in your heart. When you put it in your heart, when you put that love, that caring in your heart, you start to feel the joy that Jesus gave you, and then you can feel the peace that he gave. It's a tangible thing. It's a wonderful thing. And it's a most blessed thing because Jesus gave it to us to fill our hearts. Jesus gave us that so that we wouldn't be afraid of what's coming in this world. Now, I cannot speak for anyone else in the whole wide world but me. But there have been times I have been a little frightened, a lot frightened, a whole lot frightened. I have been so scared, I'm telling you, I was afraid to move. My knees were weak, and I just shook. Fear just has a way of getting you. And then, Jesus has a way of saying, I'm here. I'm here. Are you listening? I'm here. The fear of the world doesn't need to come and grab you. Now, this is my confession time. I had just gotten out of the army. My mom was really sick, and I went to go see her in the hospital. My brothers and sisters had told me, they're just waiting to turn off the machines and Mom will be gone. But somebody needs to go and sit with her. You got elected. I was like everybody else. I'm like, why me? Well, 'cause. So I went to be with my mom. She had 10 kids. I was the one elected. Go figure. And I got to go see my mom. She was very, very ill. She was going, and I was afraid because that hurt. And I don't like pain. I'm a big sissy. I do not like pain at all. And I know that's going to hurt. So I'm afraid of it. And the peace of Jesus came and said, you don't need to worry. I got this. Don't worry. I got this. Peace can fill your heart. peace, if you'll let it come, will allow you. Yeah, you'll mourn, but it won't be so overwhelming that you cannot function. It won't be so bad that you can't live. It won't be so terrible that you cannot move through. Today we talked about a few things that are scary for some people. They're hard for some people. They're harder for the people involved than they are for those around them. But it's hard for the other people around too, because they care about the people there. So today, I'm telling you, Jesus said, I give you my peace. I give you the peace that flows to allow you to give the comfort to those around you. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what our teacher, our Father, and our Master told us you're supposed to do. Give my peace to others. Let them know who I am so that they can take that and put it in their heart. Let it fill their hearts so that when those troubles come, they don't overload them. The peace of Jesus Christ will heal their wounds. It'll heal their souls, and it allows them to come forward then, and it allows us to come and go to them. So today, if you haven't allowed Jesus' peace to come into your heart, I encourage you, take the time today. Invite Jesus into your life. Invite Jesus into your heart and let his peace, that tangible, feelable, wonderful thing, come and fill you today. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you. We come and we say, Lord Jesus, come and let me feel your peace. Let your peace rest on me. Let it be a tangible thing that I can just enjoy. Your peace, that wonderful, wonderful peace, which is beyond our understanding and beyond our ability to get for ourselves. Let your peace come into our lives. And more than that, let us take it out today, Lord. Let us not keep it bottled up inside of us, but let us take it out and give it to others. Let us lay it on others so that they also can feel your peace in this world today. We ask in your name.